From the character's wife getting cancer in the show, to the actor working hard to juggle two projects together, there's a solid chance that Herrmann might leave Chicago Fire. Or he may not. Let's talk about it in detail. Is he really leaving the show? David Eigenberg has been the star of NBC's hugely famous Chicago Fire since the show's first episode in 2012.
Stop by the bar, see me sometime.
Okay, whatever. Bye.
The actor's run as Christopher Herrmann lasted for more than 200 episodes. One Chicago center says it's the longest amount of time he spent in any job. Eigenberg is a mainstay of the show, just like Taylor Kinney and Jesse Spencer. But rumors have been going around about how much longer he wants to stay. Fans were worried when shooting started for the 10th season of Chicago Fire. While the rest of the cast was getting together in Chicago to work on the show, Eigenberg was in New York for another part. Luckily, the hard-working actor was able to fit both jobs into his plan. Even though he's been showing up in new shows, fans were still worried. That was especially understandable after one plot point put his character's future in danger. Thankfully, it seems like those worries aren't necessary right now. Eigenberg was featured in a teaser for Chicago Fire in November. As of now, it seems like he will be back and will be there to stay. But what job offer is so good that fans think Eigenberg will leave Chicago Fire in the first place? He was balancing the Sex and the City reboot along with Chicago Fire. David Eigenberg joined the group of Chicago Fire a long time ago. If he looked familiar, it might have been because you knew him from another famous show. In Sex and the City, he was in the same cast as Sarah Jessica Parker and, more importantly, Cynthia Nixon. He made Miranda Brady's husband, Steve Brady, come to life. And even though the original run of the show finished years ago, it still made Chicago Fire a threat to Eigenberg's job. How so? A while ago, he was cast in the Sex and the City remake, and just like that. According to Deadline, shooting for the HBO Max show got in the way of Chicago Fire. Eigenberg figured it all out and is now a star on two shows at the same time. And just like that, came out a while back. We don't know a lot about Eigenberg's job right now, but he did spill some tea. In a chat with E! News, he mostly talked about his on-screen wife, Nixon. He told the network, "I can tell you that she looks pretty good." He also said that the "And Just Like That" show once thought about hiring a private jet to take him back to Chicago when shooting went longer than planned. Eigenberg will be in the much-anticipated reboot, but Chicago Fire seems to be where his heart is. He loves being on the show and was all praises for the cast and crew. David Eigenberg was juggling two well-known jobs together, but it sounds like he has no plans to stop working on Chicago Fire anytime soon. Back in March, he talked a lot about how much the part meant to him. He said that his heart and soul are here around the lovely people he's working with and the amazing story that they're telling. When Chicago Fire had its 200th episode in October, he had nothing but good things to say about the show and its cast. He said that the show had a sense of family because the cast became friends who cared deeply about each other in a ridiculous way. In an October chat with The Day, he also talked about both jobs. He said it took him a very, very long time to get to Sex and the City. He had to work hard at odd jobs for 15 years before he could get the good job he had always wanted. Eigenberg also said that between Sex and the City and Chicago Fire, he had a hard time, but he got through it. He didn't mind going through tough times. He said they come and go. Hearts break and things happen in life, but they don't have much effect on his work. Life just happens and we have to learn to deal with it and grow from it. Despite all this talk, fans are still speculating how this character can exit the show, and they gave a solid theory. Fans first thought that Herrmann was leaving Chicago Fire in January 2023 when his wife Cindy Herrmann was ill with lung cancer. Cindy found out that she had lung cancer in the 11th episode of the 11th season, called Guy I Used to Know. At the time, she had a cough and a fever. Herrmann checks on Cindy during the show and finds out that her illness has gotten worse. Cindy goes to see a doctor at the end of the show. The doctor tells Cindy that she has lung cancer. even though Cindy has never smoked a day in her life. Herrmann works as a fireman, so he works with poisons and smokes all day. I should be the one who gets lung cancer, Herrmann says in the episode, not her. Cindy has surgery to remove a growth in her lung. After the surgery is over, Cindy's doctor tells Herrmann that she is doing well and that she made it through the surgery. However, Cindy still has cancer in her lymph nodes because the doctors couldn't clean the margins. The doctor tells Herrmann that Cindy will need to go through chemotherapy and radiation. In March 2023, someone on Reddit made a thread saying that Cindy's cancer might be a way for the Chicago Fire to get Herrmann out of the show. It is very much possible, but let's hope for the best, and let's hope that doesn't happen. Moving on, there is a specific person who has actually left the show. I'm talking about Taylor Kinney. He is leaving the show Chicago Fire, where he has played the popular character Kelly Severide since 2012. The actor is leaving because of a personal issue, a source close to the production told The Hollywood Reporter, after a recent episode that started to show the character's change. The actor didn't appear in the episode called Damage Control, but his character's wife, Stella Kidd, mentioned his absence after it was said that Severide had gone to go to a top arson investigation program. Captain Tom Van Meter and Wallace Bowden's talk made it clear that the character will be back. Van Meter told Bowden that Severide's decision to take the once-in-a-lifetime chance will give him skills that will help the whole firehouse when he comes back. NBC did not say anything about Kinney's exit or whether he will come back. Kinney has been the main character on NBC's long-running hit Chicago for 11 seasons and more than 200 shows. Kinney has also been on Chicago PD and Chicago Med, which are sister shows. That's sad to hear, but I hope he comes back. These recent complications lead fans to believe that the show may end soon. Will the show get renewed or not? Netflix has a reputation for canceling shows after only a few seasons. This is because most shows get more expensive the longer they stay on. NBC doesn't want Fire to cost too much, especially since it already has 2 other One Chicago shows, so they will have to come to an understanding about that. NBC has been thinking about giving up its 10 p.m. time slot. If they did, the 3 One Chicago shows that air in a row on Wednesday nights would be messed up. Because of this change, it's possible that one of the programs would be canceled or at least changed to a different night. Don't worry though, I don't think this show will end so soon. All signs point to Chicago Fire sooner rather than later. That's all for Herrmann leaving the show.